welcome to the Action Together Wednesday weekly. My name's Josh Sayers and I am a Restorative Justice Coordinator working for the Youth Justice Service, and I'm going to be talking to you today about our Giving Back project. So if you can go on to the next slide, please. So I thought I'd introduce myself and sort of my role and what I do and what my function is within YGS. Now, I know not a lot of people will know what a Restorative Justice Coordinator is, because believe me, I didn't know what it was when I started the role myself. So basically, I'll give you a little rundown just to get to know who I am a little bit better. Essentially, the number one priority of my role is that I am a victim support. So think of it as like a victim liaison officer. Basically, essentially, whenever someone has been a victim of a crime that's been committed by someone aged 10 to 17, it's my responsibility to reach out to them and offer them support, whether it be mental health support or financial or anything like that. Another part of that is a part of my role, is giving back. So I'll go into a little bit more about what giving back is, because obviously that is the main reason that we're talking today with yourselves. So I'll skip across that. And then the other one is obviously restorative justice. Restorative justice is essentially about how you can repair the harm between a victim and the person responsible for that person being a victim of crime. But I'm not obviously going to bore you with all the details about that because we're not here today to discuss that. So I'll move on to the next slide. Thank you. So a few of you might be aware of Youth Justice Service in Oldham. If you're not, then we are based out of Positive Steps, which is next to the big Sainsbury's or the Oldham Central tram stop in the centre of town. Basically, we work with young people aged 10 to 17. These young people have a mixture of different backgrounds, whether that be cultural, religious, or anything like that. It's a complete mixture of people. Along with that mixture, there are various different offences along the scale of criminal behaviour that we deal with, from minor offences to more serious ones. The way that we work with these young people is they are referred over by police or by professionals, education, social care, anything like that. And then they are referred over to our service for intervention or to do work, i.e. the stuff I do with restorative justice, or to do sort of educational pieces. When they referred over to us, they are then case managed, so they are assigned a case manager. They might also be assigned an engagement worker that will take them out and about, take them to appointments, that sort of stuff. And then, of course, if there is a victim attached to whatever offence it might be, then it's my responsibility to get involved and to work with them. The way that we work with these young people is obviously we want to try and improve their quality of life. We want to try and get in there and see if there's anything that we can do to support them. Obviously, I've listed a couple of things there that we can help with, i.e. health, housing, education. There are a lot more various things that we can do to support these young people to give them a chance at a better shot at life, essentially, at the end of the day. If we can go on to the next slide for me. Thank you. So let's get into the meat and bones of what it is that we're actually here to discuss today. So you might be thinking, what is giving back, and why you're already a couple of minutes into this video and you still have no idea what we're here to talk about? Well, this is it now. So giving back is a project that I coordinate for YGS Oldham, and it's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So whenever a young person is referred over to us, they might be assigned something called giving back. Now, think of giving back kind of like what you would call, like in the adult terms, community service. We call it giving back because we see it more of an opportunity for a young person to get involved in the local community. So in Oldham, in order to give back, say, for instance, if that young person's committed offence about an individual, we can support and do some giving back with that individual. If they don't want anything done, then we can go out into the community and see what it is that we can get involved with. for instance, we've done, this is since I've done the role. So since I've been coordinating, giving back, this is just a little snapshot of what we've done. So we've got sort of stuff like gardening, painting, helping in kitchens, litter picking, and supporting homeless community. Now I'm going to go into a little bit more and provide a little bit more evidence as to what it is that we've actually done with these sort of things in the next few slides. But before that, giving back. So the sessions vary depending on availability of the young people, because at the end of the day, giving back sessions a young person can either have 1 or 2 or maybe upwards of 20, 30. It really does depend. So you might have a young person that's working on a project for a few months. You might have a young person that's working on a project only a couple of times. So what sort of projects are there? We'll have a look at now. Thank you, Josie. Appreciate it. So I've only picked 3. These are 3 ones that I've personally worked with and also ones that I'm quite proud of. So this was actually the first project that I got involved with when I started my role back in May. So some of you might be aware of the Street Angels based in the centre of Oldham. They are there to support our homeless community. With things like clothing and food and access to sort of sanitization equipment, that type of thing. They give them a nice hot meal, they put clothes on their back and make sure, even though they are living homeless, they try and make sure that they are as comfortable as possible. Now, back in June time, it was obviously the Jubilee party. They decided to throw a little barbecue, a little party out in the car park, which is by where they used to be situated in the centre of Oldham. They asked us, they had been donated quite a lot of mugs. They asked us whether we could take the mugs away, fill them full of like little treats like snacks, pens, hand sanitizer, stuff like that. Wrap them up and bring them back for them to be able to celebrate their Jubilee party. We managed to I think off the top of my head, I think we had 26 mugs. So we were able to provide a mug for 26 members of the homeless community in Oldham. And there's a little picture as well. Those are 3 of the lovely ladies that are working for the Street Angels, providing that support. And then there's my mug next to the mugs there. So it was really nice to support that. We move on to the next one. Thank you, Josie. Perfect. So this is another project that we started working on. So in South Chatterton, just off from the tram stop, there was a disused cafe there that had been next to the bowling green for quite a while. And a lady called Anna decided to open it up as a community cafe to help support people in Oldham. I was put in touch with her by an Oldham councillor called Graham, who told me that she's looking for a little bit of support opening a cafe. I got in touch with Anna. I visited the site, so I got to see, that's where the before photo, the top one there, was taken. I got to see what it looked like before going and supporting there, and I got to talk to Anna about what her vision was and what she wanted to happen. I had absolutely no decision making in the colour. I probably wouldn't have gone for bright yellow, or mustard yellow actually looks more like on my screen there. It wasn't my idea, but whatever she wanted, we were happy to do. So we painted the outside walls. We had to scrape off a lot of the old rust that was on there. You can see from the first photo, we got rid of that, painted the wall. As part of giving back, we actually have access to a small amount of funding. So Anna provided the paint, but we provided everything else, so the paint supplies and anything like that we needed. And you can just see just on the left an arm with a roller there. That was one of the young people working with us. So he was painting there whilst we took a photo. So that's the sort of work we did there. So if we can move on to the next one. Thank you. So this is a project that I actually really liked. I like them all, just to clarify. But this one was one that we put a lot of time and effort into. I got in touch with another Oldham council member who told me about a small allotment that he had also in Chatterton. I met up with him. he took me a tour around here. So a little bit of a backstory. This was being looked after by an elderly gentleman, quite well, I must say. But sadly, he passed away earlier on this year. So this allotment got kind of left to its own devices. A lot of stuff was rotting. A lot of stuff was just pretty much dead. Most of the produce that was in those pots was disusable. So me and one young person, this young person had decided to take this project up on as his own personal giving back. I was happy to allow that. So over the course of 8 weeks, 2 hours once a week, we would come up to this allotment. We would study the charts that were left behind by the previous person that was overseeing the garden. We would work out which ones that would need taken up, which ones would need a little bit of help, and which produce was ready to go. You can see on the left that I think that was potatoes, and on the right that was all at one point full of dead produce that we got rid of. We rejigged the soil around, and it obviously looks a lot healthier than it did before. Obviously sensible disposal of waste and all that sort of stuff. So that was a project that we ran just before it got too cold. And come spring, we will be going back there to start the process of rebedding and hopefully getting some more produce that will then be taken to local cafes and community centres around Oldham to be used to support our community. Can you move on to the next one then? Thank you, Josie. Perfect. So how does giving back work? So once we've established an opportunity to do a bit of giving back, we will then choose a young person that's open to us that has giving back sessions available. So say, for instance, the gardening allotment, we looked at who we had on our caseloads that would be suitable for doing a bit of gardening, and also at the end of the day they have to want to do it themselves as well, because we're not going to force young people to do something that they don't necessarily want to do, because we know there would probably be issues along the way. So at the end of the day, we like to work collaboratively with our young people. We want to see what their interests are and try and work with that. So young people will be chosen based on suitability. The key thing about the way that we do it, so when we are sending a young person to do giving back, it's not your responsibility to look after them. We are always going to be there with them. So it's normally on a one-to-one basis. You'll never really have giving back sessions done with a group of young people. We do it where there'll be a case manager, myself, or an engagement worker working with that individual to do that session. The sort of appointments that we do, so the giving back sessions are normally 1 to 2 hours, never less than 1 hour, rarely more than 2 hours. And each young person will have one session a week. We rarely do multiple sessions a week with one individual. As I said previously, the amount of young people doing giving back will vary. For instance, we could have a load of young people in that are doing just 2 sessions of giving back, but then we can have a few people in that've got 20 plus. So, you know, in the sense of being open and honest with you, it does vary. I can't say that I will be able to have 20 young people each week throughout every week of the year. It will vary. And I think being honest with you about that is obviously going to be key. But if I do have young people that are doing giving back sessions and I've got opportunities available, I will be transparent in contacting and making sure that you are kept along with every step as to what's going on there. And as I alluded to before when I was talking about previous sessions, we do have a small amount of fund available. So if any work needed doing, i.e. painting, litter picking, anything like that, that we could provide some supplies for, then absolutely let me know beforehand. I can do my best to supply that. At the end of the day, that's what the funds are there for. So we're absolutely going to use that. If you move on to the next one then, please, Josie. Perfect. So if you are interested in getting involved with YGS Oldham, then the way it works, the process is we make contact, either if I've been sent details to get in contact with you for a possible session that we can do, then I'll contact you. But my details are going to be after this slide. Feel free to contact me. What will happen is once we've contacted and from the conversation that I have with you and I feel like it's suitable, I'll arrange a visit. So I'll come and visit the site and see what it is that we'll be doing. I also have to do a safeguarding risk assessment. So I've got to make sure it's actually going to be suitable for the young person or the young people that we have open to us. Once that's all completed and I deem that the session would be actually useful, what I'll do is I'll then share that with my colleagues, so case managers. I'll let them know what we've got available. They will then feed back to me if they've got a young person. Quite often they'll book it into my diary. So once I'm aware as to who's going to be doing it, when they're going to do it and what time they're going to be doing it, I will then make contact with yourselves in order to arrange the session. Now, obviously depending on what it is that we'll actually be doing, if we do require some training, whether it be I show up, learn how to do the job, and then I show up with the young people and do it with them, or if you want to be there present to teach them how to do it, then that is absolutely fine. Or if there isn't any need for training, you don't actually have to be present for a session. It's all fully flexible. As long as we are there with the young person, we can be left to it. We can have other members of staff or other members of the community there. It's completely transparent and it's completely easy sessions to do, just as long as we are there with them. So once we've ironed out all that sort of stuff, then all that's left is obviously to start supporting. So we can start working together and hopefully we can provide you that support, and also vice versa, we can help bring that young person back into the community and properly help them and re-engage them with society in a positive, comfortable way. And I do believe the last slide here is my details. So there we are. Obviously, my name's Josh there. There's my mobile number. There's my email. And I work Monday to Friday at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Feel free to contact me on any of those methods at any point, and I'll be happy to respond in a quick and timely manner. Thank you for listening to me now. I appreciate it. Ta-ra.